Hello YouTube and welcome to my top 3 Dalek stories. Now, this is a bit of an odyssey really because I usually don't do top 3 monster stories, but this video is a top 5 because there are too many good Dalek stories to cover. To select, so I couldn't narrow it down to a top 3 because that would be too difficult to do. So I decided to do a top 5 because I looked at the Dalek stories that I have and I realised that I have quite a few, so I thought I'd do a top 5. There aren't any new series Dalek stories because number 5 would have been a difficult decision for me because it was either going to be Dalek or the story that I'm about to show you. But you'll probably know why. It'll be the story once I explain. Because Dalek is still a good story. I know it's quite popular, or some people might find it a bit overrated, but I think it's a really good story. So that would be number 6 if I did a top 10. So let's start with number 5, and that is Death to the Daleks. Now, this is a brilliant Dalek story, or some of you may know if you subscribe to my channel for quite a while, you'll know that I didn't think this used to be one of my favourite Dalek stories, but now it is. I just said it's one of my favourite Jon Pertwee stories because it is in my top 3 of Jon Pertwee's. But the Daleks are really good in this story and they look great, as you can see on the cover. Because I think the cover was based off the Target novelisation. It's a great story. It's 4 parts. This is one of the last few stories that Jon Pertwee did, because it was in season 11 of the classic series, and it is a brilliant Dalek story. I wouldn't say the Daleks are at their best, but they're good. Don't get me wrong, they are really good as usual. So if anyone wants to buy a new Jon Pertwee story, this would be the one to buy because it is brilliant. Well, as an individual story. So if you want to buy an individual Jon Pertwee story, this will be the one you'll buy next. So yeah, this is a brilliant Dalek story. It's absolutely great, and I highly recommend it. So number 4, we have the First Doctor story, The Chase. I've done a review of this recently if you want to check it out. I love everything about this story, although people say it's a bit slow, like in the beginning, like it drags. I think it rattles along at a really good pace, because they said that they spend too much time on the planet Arrakis, I think it's called. But I don't think they do. I think they spent a relatively good time on it, and there's quite a few funny scenes in it. Because Peter Purves, who plays Stephen, he's playing an American in this. Is before he get introduced to Stephen, so they put Peter as a different character in the middle, during the middle of the story, where the Daleks are chasing the Doctor and Barbara and Vicky, and he's because they materialise out of nowhere in the Empire State Building, and he thinks it's a complete joke. And if you see that scene, it is a hilarious scene. I'm still laughing about it now because it's just one of the scenes from the story which I can really remember because it's just brilliant. And the Daleks are great in the story. It also features the introduction of the mechanoids, even though they only appeared once in the classic series, if you're not counting the audio, the Juggernauts, which is the 6th Doctor audio, because that was their second appearance, I think, and had Davros in it. And yeah, it's a great story. It's 6 parts, because I said people think it drags, but I don't think it does. It also features Ian and Barbara's departure, and I love Ian and Barbara. I think they're brilliant companions. And so yeah, it's just a great Dalek story. You can check out my review of it, of the DVD. Now the third one we've got is a Sylvester McCoy, and you probably guessed already, it's Remembrance of the Daleks. Now, the reason why I love this Dalek story is because it's just really action-packed. You've got two factions fighting against each other on Earth, so it's not in Skara or any other place. Because the Daleks are, again, I think they are one of the stories where they're at their best. Ben Aranovich, who wrote the story, I think he did a great job of this. He did a really good script, and he wrote a really good story. And Davros is, I think, because each classic series story where Davros is on the verge of literally exploding, I think, even though he almost exploded in the Revelation of the Daleks, I think he's literally about to explode in this. Well, he does explode, because when the ship gets blown up, I think. And if you haven't seen this story and you're a Sylvester McCoy fan, get this story because it's a must. And Sylvester McCoy is my second favourite Doctor, so yeah. And my penultimate favourite Dalek story is, of course, Planet of the Daleks. Again, another one of my favourite Jon Pertwees. It's 6 parts. I mean, there's quite a few Dalek stories which are quite long in the classic series, but there's still. I mean, I could watch this in one go. It's like one of the few where I could watch it in one go because, along with like the Seeds of Death and things like that, it's a great story. Jon Pertwee is brilliant as ever in the story, and the Daleks are really cool as well. And there's a Supreme Dalek in the story, and he looks cool as well with black gold, and it just looks like a really great Supreme Dalek. And I highly recommend you get the Dalek War box set. I mean, for Frontier and Space maybe less, but for Planet of the Daleks, do get it. It's a great Jon Pertwee story and a great Dalek story. And like I said, it's one of my favourite Jon Pertwees. So yeah, and Jon Pertwee is my favourite Doctor. So, and now we have the Mother of All Dalek stories. This is a must for every Dalek and Doctor Who fan. It's a soundtrack, but it's quite relatively cheap in the box set at the moment because it's like 35 quid, and that's good value for money compared to some of the other box sets which are like 60 quid. But this Dalek story is awesome from the beginning. It's 7 parts long, and it is the evil of the Daleks. It's a brilliant story. Features the introduction of Victoria Waterfield as played by Deborah Watling, and it features the introduction of the Emperor Dalek. I think he appears at the end of episode 5 through to the end of episode 7. So just go on and buy it, well, the box anyway, because it is a fantastic story. It's 7 episodes long, but watch it in chunks of whatever episodes, or you can watch listen to episode 1 and then watch episode 2 because that's the only episode that we have it. That is surviving at the moment because obviously I talked about the 90 episodes which have supposedly been found. But I hope the other episodes have been included in as part of the 90 because I would really like to see the rest of the story as well as hearing the soundtrack. So yeah, it's a brilliant story, and the Dalek Emperor is great. I think he's better than Parting the Ways, although Parting of the Ways Emperor was brilliant as well. But I love the voice. I think the voice is quite effective because it's a lot deeper. I think it should be deeper. Like every Dalek Emperor there is, I think it should be like really deep. Although Davros in Remembrance of the Daleks was classed as Emperor, but I think the Emperor Dalek in this is excellent. I think he is really good, and I suppose you could call it a prop, really, but it's a brilliant prop. It just looks amazing, and this is probably my favourite Dalek story that is ever been. Really, it's great. So that concludes my top 3 Dalek stories. So there they are right there. Death to the Daleks, The Chase, Remembrance of the Daleks, Planet of the Daleks, and Evil of the Daleks. So thank you for watching this top 5 Dalek stories, and at some point I will do a Doctor Who blog, but I think my next video will probably be a review of the War Machines, and I shall see you for that. Bye for now.